All right, so they're expected to beat Utah State. But can UCLA beat Tennessee? Hell yeah, and they're gonna.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free wherever you get your podcast, and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for your support. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Head over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. You need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. Speaking of staying energized, where we're getting started today, little snack episode for you guys. UCLA, how are they going to beat Tennessee? A 2 seed from the almighty SEC. The team from a conference that seems unbeatable. Maybe not necessarily Tennessee, but overall, is this a terrible matchup for UCLA against Tennessee? The Bruins played pretty well against Utah State, but here's a quote I found interesting from Ian Martinez of Utah State after the game. This is not a full quote-unquote, but this is the gist of it. We didn't think UCLA would shoot that well, and they shot a little bit better than they could. And then, we didn't think they could shoot. That is why people don't understand what this UCLA team can do. That's why we're all over the map about this UCLA team saying, hey, can they shoot? Yeah, this is a team that's much better shooting the three than last year. This team can shoot at 35% from three. The Bruins have four players, that shoot at 38% or better. So there's this growing narrative that UCLA can't shoot. They don't always score. That doesn't look pretty. They don't do it because they can't turn it over because they can't shoot. It's just sometimes a rough offense to look at. And oh, by the way, let's talk about Tennessee. These are two of the slower teams in the tournament facing off against one another. All right. If you're looking at the Ken Palm adjusted ratings defensively, offensively, remember there's 12-ish teams heading into the tournament just about that were both top 40 offensively and top 25 defensively in the Ken Palm. You know where UCLA and Tennessee rank? They're one of those 12 teams. And that's the unique battle about this NCAA tournament. Sometimes are you a good team, or is it the fact that maybe you're a team that analytically is really good and you're facing off in the second round? Well, a lot of people are going to pick Tennessee to win this battle. But I'm going to tell you why UCLA can, and they will. Here's something to talk about. Tennessee and the SEC, the almighty, the great conference. They sent 14 teams to the NCAA tournament. UCLA and the woebegone Big Ten. No, UCLA played quality teams. And, by the way, when it comes to these two teams playing elite defensive teams, let's look into the numbers. Let's take a look at Tennessee first. All right, they got some big wins, a couple of non-conference wins. We're not really battling resumes here. These two teams are going to battle it out in the court Saturday night in Lexington. So what am I looking for? Two teams that have faced top 40 defenses in Ken Palm. That was my cutoff. I was like, okay, top 40 defenses in the Ken Palm. Tennessee has battled teams 11 times in the top 40 part of the Ken Palm defensively adjusted rating. Most of those came in the SEC. For Tennessee, got a win against Texas A&M. Okay, Texas A&M advanced in the tournament. You have a win against Florida, but 2 losses. They do have a win against Auburn on a neutral site, but a loss against Auburn. They beat Arkansas, lost to Ole Miss, who advanced in the tournament. They beat Georgia, and they beat Alabama. And they also beat Louisville. So those are a lot of wins against strong defensive teams in the Ken Palm. Now, when I'm looking at that, Tennessee has 2 road wins and 1 neutral site win. So the majority of their wins against teams who play really good defense and adjusted for it in the Ken Palm efficiency ratings, Tennessee has only 2 of those wins away from home and 3 overall if you include a neutral site win, averaging about 69 points per game in that against those teams that play good defense. Here, let's look at UCLA's previous history against really good defensive teams in the Ken Palm, top 40. Here we go. Michigan State. UCLA beat that team. Maryland didn't go so well. Michigan, they scored 75 points, but they lost that one. The Bruins, a win against Wisconsin and a loss. 2 wins against Oregon, a win against Indiana, a win against Northwestern, beating Gonzaga, beating Arizona, and a loss to New Mexico. Okay, so UCLA overall 8 wins against teams in the top 40 defensively via Ken Palm. 3 of those wins on the road, 2 wins against neutral sites. So there's this growing narrative that UCLA can't shoot. This UCLA team can't win big games on the road. Now, yes, is it traveling outside the Pacific time zone? Absolutely. But the Bruins got a big win on the eastern side of the United States, going to Kentucky, beating Utah State. They've beaten teams who can play defense. And another thing, when UCLA goes on the road and they play 2 road games or they're on a 2-game road trip, UCLA tends to play better in the second game. I forgot who said it in the pregame, the postgame, or whoever it was leading up to this game. UCLA tends to play better in the second part of road trips. That's why you saw the UCLA win. Oh, they beat Indiana. Oh, when they won the road trip, they beat Northwestern. Some big wins for UCLA in second parts of a long 2-game road trip in Big Ten play. And sometimes they'd struggle, but they generally would play better on road games the second game out. So if they came out dominant and focused in their opening game of the tournament, they tend to play better the second time they're in a spot. So whether they're facing somebody new, like Tennessee will represent, these 2 teams are on similar rests. They've been in the same time zone for a couple of days now, UCLA specifically. And here the Bruins are with an opportunity to face somebody that if you really look in the mirror, I think UCLA and Tennessee are very similar. Let's be honest. Tennessee's probably an overrated version of UCLA, and the Bruins are somewhat of an underrated version of Tennessee. And Tennessee is run specifically by 2 key forces. And I think the Bruins, if you can shut down one, they've game planned for a similar type dominant point guard in Zakai Ziegler. You can go guard Chaz Lanier, and UCLA could find themselves waltzing into the Sweet 16. But how do they stop them? Who are the Bruins that are going to step up in this game? We will talk about that next, more key specifics. But hey, Bruins have a big advantage in this one by having faced good defenses, winning in neutral sites, winning on the road. So get rid of this narrative that they can't do it. They can absolutely. Let's go more into it next. We're all about the stats here, and because the numbers don't lie, and when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. The ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear, wherever you need to go. Powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, it delivers the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. Room up to 8 people. Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Daylight savings snuck up us again. The lights out. I'm a little tired. I'm still groggy. Maybe I'm still feeling like you've lost that hour of sleep. Well, 5-Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means time for more fun. For me, I'm walking around the park with a lot of energy. And you may need a little boost to power through those mid-afternoon lulls. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament like I am, or squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with a busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. There's extra daylight, extra activities. Those longer days, maybe you want to go on a hike, or just like I did, go walk around the park. Go for a run. Tropical Burst is a quick go-to for a quick boost. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from: watermelon, blue raspberry, peach, mango, and you can even build your own 12 or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Okay, is this UCLA-Tennessee matchup something they haven't seen before? This is where I'm going to throw out the Chaz Lanier and the Zakai Ziegler comparisons, okay? Well, there's not many Ziegler comparisons, but I'm going to throw Lanier's out there in terms of the shooting ability. For Lanier, I think this is what UCLA's got to guard, this lethal shooter, kind of like a Caleb Love, all right? A 6'5", fifth-year guard, hailing from Nashville, Tennessee, a North Florida transfer into the volunteer program. I am, in my mind, comparing him to a Caleb Love. Let's look over the numbers for the Vols right now. All right, this is what Lanier brings. Lanier is a total, as we go over the scoring, of an 18-point per game scorer, shoots 40% from three, has hit 116, clear, well and beyond anything Tennessee throws out there, anything UCLA can throw out there. He is a guy that can come in there and shoot it from the line. 73% just doesn't get there all too often. He is a lethal threat, not going to pass a lot. He will turn it over a little bit, but UCLA in this game, you got to close out on Lanier's shooting because he put up almost 30 points in their opening round win against Wofford for Tennessee. You clamp him down. It's not like Caleb Love had a big game against UCLA. They know what it's like to face a volume shooting guard who can play a lot of minutes and put up threes. They faced Caleb Love the last couple of years in the tournament in 22. If you want to know the difference between this UCLA team going on a run or not, it could be the stopping Chaz Lanier. And if UCLA game plans on Tennessee getting someone else the basketball, maybe you might see Jordan Gainey launch a couple of threes off the bench. You'll see him. He's not the most efficient. If he's off one of those 3 Tennessee Volunteer players that average 10-plus points per game, he's not the most lethal from downtown. Okay, Igor Milicic Jr., Felix Akpar, those are names in the post that are physical, rebounding machines, but they're not going to light it up from the floor. But then you got Zakai Ziegler, who can facilitate the offense, run Rick Barnes' system. And these are 2 teams that play pretty slow. And if you're going to play a game that UCLA likes to play, I'm going to favor the Bruins. That's where I am leaning in this matchup. Hey, this is a slow pace, a neutral site. If UCLA gets red hot, you win 1. Why not win 2, 3, or 4 and get to the Final Four? Okay, I'm a little ahead of myself. Let's get back to Zakai Ziegler. So I was looking at some of the best point guards in the country when it comes to assist to turnover ratio, take care of the basketball, good scores, and this was what I thought of what UCLA's already played this year in comparison to Ziegler. 1, Donovan Dent from New Mexico. All right, UCLA got beat down on a neutral site in early part of the season. Donovan Dent is somebody who is spectacular. Okay, who else? Jacoby Gillespie, very good guard for Maryland, one of the best at assist to turnovers. Then you got Bruce Thornton of Ohio State. UCLA got a win against him. He's a big-time guard. Ryan Nembhard from Gonzaga had a fantastic game, scored 16 points against UCLA. I would think those are 2 pretty good comps, the former Creighton Blue Jay versus Zakai Ziegler, although Nembhard did do pretty well. Braden Smith, the Big Ten preseason player. You got Braden Smith, a baller right there. UCLA's seen some pretty good guards. Jeremy Fears Jr., think about that, for Michigan State, and the Bruins won that game. So against good guards, UCLA has faced a lot, good point guards, good facilitators who can also score, and the Bruins have come away with wins in quite a few of those matchups. The other thing is Ziegler, 5'9", and we're not just going to go out there and, oh, this guy's short. No. That's not exactly what you got. But the one thing is, with Ziegler standing 5'9", all right, that means UCLA's backcourt, as physical as they can be, this is a matchup where Dylan Andrews could thrive, right? You've got big guards ranging from Trent Perry, last off the bench for UCLA as a guard, to Stefanovic, to Kobe Johnson, to Sky Clark. Dylan Andrews stands 6'2", all right? That's at least 4 to 5 inches the Bruins have with their starting guards on the starting point guard for Tennessee. Now, not everything's designed by height. This is a guy who facilitates. He can score. He is really good at swiping the basketball and having a good game, dishing out assists and not turning it over too many times. Ziegler, though, has turned it over 100 times in this season, but has one of the best assist-to-turnover ratios in the country. But if UCLA is afraid of that, no, go look at Ryan Nembhard, a guy who was playing flat-out great against the Bruins and then brought Gonzaga from a WCC tournament victory to all the way to a first-round victory over Georgia in dominant fashion. So the Bruins have faced their fair share of point guards. This isn't like, oh, Ziegler's going to dominate. Cronin should game plan for this. They have physical, stronger, taller, capable guards defensively. Now, I'm not sure anybody can light it up like Lanier, but that's where you bring in Kobe Johnson. You bring in Stefanovic. UCLA has a couple different guys who can go out and get the buckets, while the other couple of guys, the other 5 on the floor, you mix and match the lineups between who's going to lock down Lanier, who's going to stop Ziegler from going bananas in this game. And UCLA doesn't have to necessarily lean on their leading scorer, right? The Bruins didn't get much from Tyler Bilodeau in that opening round victory against Utah State. They averaged 80 points per game, and they thought UCLA couldn't shoot them. Just like, they're not the best. They don't always light it up, but they can definitely hit it percentage-wise, get clutch, and do it better than you in a lower-scoring, tight tournament-type game. And if Tennessee has a slow pace, as good as Tennessee is at guarding the three, the Bruins could have a significant edge in the paint, all right? Listening a little bit to Eric Kane from Locked On Vols, it was the idea of they're not exactly going to go play inside out. This is where Aday Mara can come in and dominate in those 10 minutes in the first half or whatever he's going to play. As long as that ankle's okay, as long as Sebastian Mack and his groin are okay, you got two physical guards or a physical guard and a big man coming off the bench that I'm just not sure Tennessee's going to be able to match. Of course, yes, they've handled the rebounding battle. They're physical in the SEC, of course. But UCLA has dealt the bully ball, the Midwest, Big Ten type basketball for an entire 3 months now. So are they going to be afraid by Tennessee? No. Are they going to be afraid by Zakai Ziegler? No. The one thing that could absolutely destroy the Bruins in this game, though, is the fact that, hey, UCLA hasn't grabbed a lot of rebounds, and Utah State grabbed a lot of second-chance rebounds. At the end of the season, though, Tennessee was getting out-rebounded in the SEC tournament game, 2 of the last 3 regular season games. And Wofford, team that supposedly had not a lot of size, not a lot of athleticism, came out there and battled the Vols on the board. So this game could come down to a couple of things. UCLA being close in the three-point territory, all right, matching Lanier between a multitude of guys. UCLA doesn't need a big game from such and such, right? They don't need 4 threes from Clark. That'd be huge. This is where Bilodeau can sprinkle in a couple more. Mack can make one, all right? They can spread the wealth from 3 to match Lanier's production. And then whoever wins the boards, whoever is the better rebounding team will have a significant edge. And of course, UCLA, it's going to come down to getting Zakai Ziegler uncomfortable. Against Jeremy Fears Jr. from Michigan State, they forced him to 3 turnovers to 5 assists. If UCLA can get similar numbers, make sure Tennessee isn't shooting a high percentage, because this is a team that scored a little less than 45 points in a couple of games against some of the top teams in the SEC. Now, they got big wins, but hey, I like Mick Cronin. If you're playing Cronin style against UCLA in a stylistic game that's going to be ugly to watch but great for UCLA, I'm going to lean UCLA in that. And I'm confident. Not like, oh, they're going to go beat them by 20, but I like their chances. Tennessee's really good, but it's nothing the Bruins haven't faced before. They faced elite defenses. And oh, yes, while they're going to stop the 3, I think UCLA can man up and hit a couple of threes. And I think the Bruins have the secret weapon inside, the not-so-secret weapon, that can wreak havoc and make Volunteer fans just despise Aday Mara heading into their potential offseason starting Saturday night. That is where I'm thinking confidence-wise. Aggressive. Yeah? Oh, I know.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Well, that's going to be it, right? UCLA, you take care of the basketball, hit a couple of threes, and rebound. And the Bruins could be finding themselves in the Sweet 16. Heading back to, that favorite land that they love, Indianapolis, going to the land of Indiana. Well, it's where it's got to be. If the Bruins are trying to make a run for the first time for a national championship in 30 years, got to take care of business against the Vols. It'll be a very, very pro-Vols crowd. I'm expecting a lot of haters in the comments. I'm expecting a lot of Volunteer fans to make their presence felt in Rupp Arena, probably the only time any SEC team, or Tennessee specifically, could get 90% fan love in an arena like Rupp Arena. And UCLA's got to deal with it, but it's not like they didn't deal with anything different in Madison Square Garden. They've been there a couple of days. Now UCLA should be ready, and they came out ready against Utah State. And I think in a game where the styles are very similar, why wouldn't UCLA get a lot of love? A lot of Tennessee's big wins against good defenses have come with the home crowd of 20,000 in Knoxville. One of the biggest, I think it's the biggest college basketball arena there is out there. They get a lot of fans out there in Knoxville. Let me tell you, it's a great place, fantastic place. For this Saturday night's purpose, we're not friends, but I do love Knoxville. Been there a couple of times, spent a summer there. Beautiful, beautiful place. In terms of how they cheer their team on, great, cool. But this neutral side environment, a little different. I think UCLA can come away with a dub, and I believe in them too. I hope you do too. Those are the advantages UCLA has playing towards them. And use Aday Mara, for goodness sake. If he plays 15 or more minutes, UCLA doesn't lose. That could be the case in this one. He plays 15 minutes, couple boards, couple blocks, some dunks, an assist or two. UCLA, a shocking or an expected Sweet 16. That could be our next episode. We will react to that game. We'll react to the women's game. Everything here on the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament. Hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA. Fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.